Hey guys, welcome to Lingua Marina. Whenever people ask me, Marina, what is the best way to learn English? I tell them practice every day. And by practicing for only 20 minutes, you can reach your goals in English pretty fast. So in this video, I'm gonna present you my 20-minute daily learning routine that you can use for learning English. I'm gonna give you resources where you can go and practice. They're completely free. We're gonna talk about different things that you can do during the day to improve your language. Before we start, I wanted to tell you about something that inspired me to create this daily routine, daily practice. My younger daughter, Emily, she's 3 years old. She just started like a mini school for kids where they practice every day for just 10 minutes. They're doing basic stuff, connecting dots, learning words. But the key thing there, and it's called Kumon, Japanese system, the key thing there is daily repetition, just for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes for your brain is like nothing. You're like, oh, I'm gonna sit down for just 10 minutes, I'm fine. And I always give her a candy after she practices because she sometimes needs this extra motivation to continue. So I want you to get inspired by a 3-year-old and by this amazing system that they've created in Kumon where you practice daily but for a very short period of time. Because sometimes if it's a 2-hour class, we're like, maybe I should do tomorrow, maybe I should do it next week. But when it's a 20-minute daily routine, if you tell me, Marina, I don't have 20 minutes, I tell you, you're not interested in learning a language. When you're super passionate about something, when you understand that you really need it, you're gonna find those 20 minutes. Now let's talk about the daily routine. The first thing that we're gonna talk about is listening. Listening is very important in English just because of all the accents. I've been learning English for almost 10 years when I first came to the UK, and I realized like it was useless because I didn't understand what people were saying, and it took me some time to actually get used to their accent. The problem with today's world is that there are so many accents. There is Indian accent, which is super popular around the world. There is Chinese accent, Russian accent, American, British, Scottish, Australian, New Zealand. Like there are so many people who speak English, and your task is to make sure you understand all of them, because who knows who's going to be in your group when you go to a university, or if you're taking an online course who you're going to be matched with to practice your English. So start your 20-minute practice with a 5-minute listening task. That could be anything, YouTube, audiobook, whatever. One of the websites that I wanted to recommend is called ELLO.org. They have a lot of lessons, including audio and video lessons on different topics. And those conversations are actually divided into levels, because I know how complicated it is when you go to YouTube or you start watching a TV show on Netflix and then you realize it's just not your level, it's too complicated. Well, if you are beginner or intermediate, I would highly recommend that website because everything is based on the level of English that you have. What I also like about them is that they actually have a script of every single conversation, which I do not recommend you to read right away. But if you listen to a conversation and you're like, I still don't get what's going on here, then you read a script. And another thing that they've done for you, they've actually created a vocabulary so you can learn all the words that you've encountered during your listening practice. I also like that their conversations are not superficial, because sometimes listening tasks sound like this. And no one really talks like this in real life. People have accents, people speak fast. So on that website, you will get exposed to many different accents, and you will get exposed to real English language speech. The next 5 minutes of your 20-minute practice will be speaking. Speaking is incredibly, incredibly important. The problem is you might be able to listen to a lot of things, but when it comes to saying them, words are not in your active vocabulary. They're in your passive vocabulary, which means you understand them. But when you need to actually say them, they flip from your mind. You're like, oh, where did this word, how do I actually pronounce it? The thing is, even reading out loud can be considered speaking practice, because when you read out loud, you're like, oh, how do I actually read this word? Because when you're reading a book, you don't really think about pronouncing something. But when you start reading out loud, you're asking yourself questions. Oh my God, how do I pronounce this word? I've never said it in my whole life. And by saying it for the first time, you actually start practicing it. So first of all, reading out loud. Second website that I wanted to recommend is actually called speakandimprove.com. It is a research project by University of Cambridge. It's basically a robot. Let me show you something. So they They will start asking you questions and you will answer them.
What's your name?
My name is Marina. You're gonna listen to your answer.
How do you spell your family name?
How do you spell your family name? Okay. Mogilko.
Where are you from?
So this cute little robot is gonna ask you questions about you, and then it's gonna dig into different topics. I think this is very useful for people who just don't wanna talk to themselves, because it is so weird sometimes when Marina tells you on YouTube that you have to talk to yourself, and I love talking to myself out loud, but not everybody likes it. So the robot is a great way to practice your spoken English. Again, the website is called speakandimprove.com. Another way to practice is to actually use another website that I mentioned today, elo.org. What they have there is they have videos of people answering questions. So for example, the question would be, do you like taking selfies? So your task is to pause right there, answer, but don't say yes or no, elaborate. Yes, I love taking selfies because I can create the best lighting for myself, because I know the best angles, and I just love documenting my face every day, whatever. Try to elaborate, then you press the play button and you start listening to other people answering the question. I think it's a great way to practice your answer first and then get inspired by people answering the same question, because you can borrow some vocabulary and some phrases that they've used. Another great website actually allows you to talk to your phone. The website is called speechnotes.co. It wasn't actually created for language learning purposes. The whole idea behind this website is for you to say things and it's going to transcribe them, which means the robot on the website, or whatever, the algorithm on the website will create a transcribed version of whatever you said. Two things why it's a good way to practice English. First, if you mispronounce something, if you mispronounce a word, the algorithm wouldn't understand it, and you will need to check your pronunciation, Google that word, say it again until the algorithm actually understands. And the second thing, the robot would actually add all the symbols like semicolon, exclamation point, question mark, so you will learn how to use them in English. And again, when it comes to speaking, I would say just talk to yourself. Talk to yourself about your day. Talk to yourself about your goals. I love talking to myself. In general, I love talking, as you might have guessed. Okay, we have 10 minutes left for your practice, and 7 minutes go to vocabulary. Once you've done your listening part, once you've done your speaking part, you've probably encountered at least 3 to 5 new words, and this is your time to practice them. I wouldn't recommend learning more than 5 words a day, so write them down and again, create sentences with them and say them out loud. Just try it. I know you're like, okay, Marina, whatever, I will say them out loud. But do it actually. You will see how because it happens to me all the time. I start reading something out loud, or I start talking to someone, a native speaker, about a book that I just read in English, and I want to pronounce a word or like some name that I saw in that book, and I realize I can't because I never pronounced it, and I'm like, oh my God. So it's either an audiobook or you read out loud all the names that you do not understand how to pronounce. So it's really important. And I want you to wrap up your practice with a 3-minute reflection of your goals or where you're heading. I love telling people to create a dream board. It's crazy how it works for you, because you're creating a destination for your brain, a destination for all of your goals. I am learning English because I have this dream board where I have Gary Vaynerchuk, because I want to be in the same conference with him. I want to be a speaker at a business conference in the US together with Gary. He's a very inspiring immigrant. I have a house that I want to buy. I even have bed sheets that I really like, and they're on my dream board. And every time that I sit at my desk, I stare at this dream board and I'm like, I am getting closer. And today I was invited to an event. Hopefully it's gonna happen. They're gonna send me official confirmation next week. But that event, a red carpet event, was on my dream board. So it's just crazy how it works. And I highly encourage you to create at least 100 wishes that are connected with your English language level, and be as specific as you can. Like, I want this apartment in Los Angeles. This is how much it costs. This is how I get there. I want this degree from this university. This is how much it costs. This is, how much I need to score my TOEFL. I want to have this, like, even think of physical things. I want the new iPhone. I want the new laptop. I want this book, that book. Like, put everything on your dream board and understand that English is your instrument that's gonna get you there. And if you're like, Marina, is there one resource for me to do all of this? I can recommend my workbook that I've created together with my team. It's 180 pages plus of English theory and practice. It's our bestseller, tens of thousands of copies sold, and students just love it. The link will be down below. And thank you so much, guys, for watching this video up to the very end. Thank you so much for being subscribed to this channel. Oh, and don't forget to share this video with everyone who learns English. Bye bye.